Hey guys, today we're going to talk about the advantages and disadvantages of sexual and asexual reproduction. Now we've already talked about these two types of reproduction, but today we're going to hyper-focus on the advantages and disadvantages. We already know that sexual reproduction is the creation of an organism through fertilization, which is the uniting of egg and sperm. And obviously there are going to be some advantages and disadvantages to that. The main advantage of sexual reproduction is variety. That genetic variety allows for organisms to easily adapt over time through the process of natural selection, and allows the species to evolve. So we have adapted and adopted characteristics speed up evolution. Also, with sexual reproduction, most organisms who reproduce sexually have some level of parental care. Whether it is a kangaroo who will carry their baby in the pouch, or whether it is birds laying on the nest, brooding those eggs and bringing food back, things like that, there's usually some type of parental care, whereas bacteria, they just split and move on. That parental care increases rate of infant survival. So more of those infants or more of those offspring make it to maturity. Now there are some cons with this as well though. We know that sexual reproduction takes a lot of energy. We not only have to find a mate, but we also have to go through courtship, which is essentially seducing that mate. You have to go through the breeding process, which takes time and for a lot of organisms can be very dangerous. And with internal fertilization, we also have a gestation period, or pregnancy, which makes the female, in most cases, sometimes the male, very vulnerable during that time. Now when we take a look at asexual reproduction, which is creating an organism through only one parent by copying that information, we also have some advantages and disadvantages. Some good advantages is that it is fast and efficient.
At this time, call riders dismissed. Dancers and cheerleaders, please report to the gym.
Another benefit is that there is no need for a mate. So these organisms don't have to wait on another organism to come around at the right time, at the right moment for reproduction. They can just reproduce when they feel like their environment is suitable for reproducing. So it is for convenience. No courting, breeding, or gestation. It also saves energy. Because it is such a simple process, and you're just duplicating information from that one cell, it's a very simple process, so it doesn't take a lot of energy at all. Now the biggest downfall to asexual reproduction is the lack of genetic diversity. And this makes the whole species susceptible to attack or danger. So essentially what's happened is all of your organisms from asexual reproduction are exactly the same, right? So if we have this one kind of bacteria and it makes an exact copy of itself every single time it reproduces, and it never ever evolves, then when we find an antibiotic that is going to wipe out that bacteria, it's going to wipe out all the bacteria of that kind because they all have the same genetic information. Now what happens sometimes, the only way that organisms who can reproduce asexually, the only way that they can have variation is through mutation. So, and we'll talk a little bit about that later on, but you might have a random genetic change such as a mutation, and that's where we have evolution through asexual reproduction.